Hello, I'm Toby Clements, author of the Kingmaker series of books, and I wanted to share the lessons I learned during my research for the books. The books themselves deal with a very sort of ground-up view of dwarves, of the Roses. So it's not from the point of view of, in this instance, Warwick the Kingmaker. That the title is a sort of catch-all title that would, eye-catching. So it's not really about Warwick the Kingmaker as he became known. He wasn't known as Warwick the Kingmaker until fairly late on. Can't remember when, maybe even in the 18th century. Shakespeare describes him as a plucker up and a setter down of kings, I think. Something like that anyway. But I was much more interested in the experience of the common man, and how they lived their lives, and how they got by day to day, and the astonishing hardships they faced daily, and the real ingenuity they brought to surviving them. Obviously they weren't new hardships. They had built on their forefathers and mothers, what they had learned. I'm not suggesting that they particularly were ingenious, but I was just fascinated how tough they were, and I was fascinated by how they must have, and this is an imaginative feat, but how they must have just lusted after fire and warmth so much, because they had very, very few clothes, and when these clothes got wet, they stayed wet for the whole winter, and they had to dry these when they could, and they didn't have chimneys, and so it was all, their houses were all to do with smoke management, where the smoke went, and there wasn't much food, and it was extremely miserable, but it's very dramatic, and I loved all that. I loved writing about that, and I loved going to the various reenactment camps, some of which are what they call beer and bash, where just people just turn up and hit each other's sticks, and you can dress in more or less what you like. But some are incredibly painstaking and, as far as anyone can tell, accurate. Everyone says, "What's your source? What's your source?" And you have to show your picture of a painting or an illustration from the time, to show that your codpiece is a correct codpiece, and that your bow is made from, Pyrenean yew, which is where the best bows came from. All that kind of stuff, and it is really, really the guys the men and women who do the reenactment camps are, some of them take it so seriously. I mean, it's a way of life, and they are incredibly impressive and delightful company. They share their secrets very enthusiastically. And so I spent some time doing that and living under canvas and stuff like that, which I heartily recommend in the summer. And I did quite a lot of training. I learned to shoot a bow, and I did some training to fight with a poleaxe. But then I thought that there wouldn't have been, given my characters are generally farmers, they wouldn't really have learned how to handle a poleaxe. It's a much more skillful weapon. You don't just whack people with it. So I did that for a bit, but then I got sort of, I don't know, I sort of thought I was going to learn as much as I could, because a lot of that is to do with form, of posture and stuff like that, which I just don't think would have been in their curriculum. But shooting a bow, it would have, and I loved that. I didn't ever manage to draw anything like the weights they could draw, because you have to train to do that from 7 or 8. They were out in the butts doing those. Everyone had to train every Sunday after mass, and I think it was they did the third band football so that people would shoot and go to the butts and practice drawing their bows, and so they did it. That's my character's. That Thomas becomes an archer, although he does have it turns out, a poleaxe. He inherits a poleaxe by accident, which becomes talismanic, I suppose. So that was very, very interesting, and it informed a lot of. Did it inform the plot? I don't know. It felt very enjoyable. And if you have a chance to go and shoot a longbow, there are numerous societies all over England and Wales. I'm not sure about Scotland. In Scotland, not so. They weren't the great bowmen. Claymores and stuff like that's their thing. I highly recommend it. And I hope there will be a lot of bow shooting in the